The Labor Day holiday rush is on. Details next on CTV News Tonight.
Is underway. That story coming up.
A sad case of domestic violence. Good evening. This is CTV News. I'm Patricia Blown. We'll have that story in just a moment. But first, a major development tonight in the case of a missing Greenbelt teacher. Now, police have made an arrest in the disappearance of Miriam Torres Sila. She was last seen in late July taking a walk in a Greenbelt park. Now, a press conference is ongoing with Greenbelt police at this moment. They've arrested Harold Landon III, and they say they have found a dismembered body. Sila was a second-grade teacher at Dora Kennedy French Immersion School in Greenbelt. We will have much more on this story when we return next week. Well, 2 people are dead and 1 wounded during a scary barricade situation in Fort Washington. The suspect, 62-year-old Michael Birch, is accused of killing his wife, 52-year-old Roy Birch, and his 25-year-old son, Michael Jr. Birch also allegedly shot another adult male, his neighbor, when he went to the front door to offer help. His injuries are not considered life-threatening. The incident unfolded in the 1900 block of Tall Timber Court, where officers responded to a report of a shooting about 5:45 p.m. yesterday. Now, police say Birch fatally shot his wife and son at the scene and then barricaded himself inside the home for about 5 hours. The incident forced authorities to shut down the area and neighbors to shelter in place.
We had a report of scent of gas, so I don't know how much gas there was or where it was coming from, so we had to deal with that. 2, he had already shot at least 2 people and possibly a third and was still armed. And of course, we did find weapons in the residence. Homicide investigators will take over from this point and try to determine what occurred and why.
Now, Birch was taken into custody without incident about 10:45 last night. Police say he is currently undergoing a medical evaluation. Well, it's the Labor Day weekend, and as expected, many people are heading out of town. Byron Scott is on the highway with our story.
Well, Patty, the exodus is already underway. Take a look behind me here. We are on I-495 in the Largo area. Now, AAA Mid-Atlantic says the roads, rail lines, cruise ships will be busier than Labor Day of 2022. But of all the travel holidays, AAA says Labor Day is the least busy. Now, if you do plan to drive, AAA says make sure, of course, that your vehicle is in good working order. If you are out and about, don't drink and drive. And don't forget, police say the slow down, move over law. Now, as for gas prices, while up, they are slightly lower than this time last year. As we said, the exodus is well underway.
And if Memorial Day and the 4th of July are any indication, we're expecting that not only will the roads be busy, but that the airports will be busy over this sort of last summer weekend as well. Hopefully, if you're planning to travel, you're already on the roads. If not, probably best to wait until later this evening after 8. Saturday will probably be a busy day as well, with Sunday being the least busy on the roadways.
And of course, you want to be careful on the roads. As for gasoline prices, the average price of a gallon of gasoline in Maryland is $3.65. In Largo on 495, I'm Byron Scott, CTV News.
Thanks, Byron. Well, like county students who are heading back to school, the Prince George's County Council is set to get back to work following its August recess. CTV spoke with Council Chair Tom Dernoga today. He says members are ready to get back to work on a host of measures aimed at tackling gun violence and truancy issues. Water and sewer plan amendments will also be addressed. Dernoga also expects zoning issues to come up.
We have a couple public hearings on Wednesday. There's a couple of bills that I had that promote more citizen involvement in the zoning process in terms of making sure that when they show up and have an opinion that it gets recorded as to what their opinion was. Because when you look at the decisions that come out, they never say what the citizen opposition had to say. So if people come down, spend all their time preparing and being in front of the hearing examiner, the planning board, you would think that their views should be recorded in the final decision and not just stuck in a file somewhere that no one ever pays attention to.
And the council resumes its session next Wednesday. Well, for the first time in more than 3 years, federal student loan borrowers will soon be required to pay their monthly student loan bills. While those loan payments resume in October, student loan interest starts accruing today. If you haven't set up your new loan account, experts say be sure to do it ASAP. Student loan interest typically accrues daily, starting as soon as your loan is disbursed, even while you're in school. Subsidized loans are the only exception for students. The federal government pays the daily interest on those accounts until 6 months after graduation. And U.S. employers added 187,000 jobs to the economy in the month of August. Economists say it's evidence of a slowing but still resilient labor market. Last month's growth was larger than July's gain of 157,000 jobs. The Labor Department says that the unemployment rate rose from 3.5% to 3.8%, which is the highest since February of 2022. And you are watching CTV News. I'm Patricia Vallone. We'll be back in just a moment.
Still looking for hurricane help? If you've registered with FEMA and still need aid, contact FEMA today. You can check the status of your application, get any questions about your application answered, or appeal FEMA's decision. You can even update your contact information. Remember, it's important, as FEMA may be trying to reach you, because disaster assistance is still available. It's easy to reach FEMA. Just call 1-800-621-3362 or visit disasterassistance.gov.
State police have identified the victim of that I-95 crash in Beltsville yesterday. Tow truck driver Osama Mari of Suitland was attempting to help a motorist when he was struck and killed. The 31-year-old was hit after a motorist sideswiped a vehicle stranded on the shoulder. Charges could be filed pending the outcome of the state police investigation. Well, are you prepared to evacuate your home in a moment's notice? Emergency management experts say now is the time to get ready. September marks National Preparedness Month, and officials want to encourage families to create an emergency preparedness plan. Families should talk about what to do if the unexpected happens, like a hurricane or a fire. Laurel officials say that important documents like copies of IDs, birth certificates, and lists of medications should be placed in a fire-lock box or into a go-to bag.
Being prepared is going to lessen the kind of the impact of a disaster or an emergency on you. The more prepared you are, the easier it is for you to get back to a standard of living and getting back to that day-to-day life. We can't always plan for everything, so it's best that we're prepared as best we can be.
In the meantime, to recognize Emergency Preparedness Month, the City of Laurel is hosting a scavenger hunt. The winner will receive an emergency preparedness kit, and the hunt will last through the end of the month. Well, a group of Hispanic students are on their way to a bright future. 13 students, including one female, have completed a job readiness program. Some have either received or are working on obtaining their commercial driver's license permit. The 14-week program was offered by the nonprofit Centro de Apoyo Familiar, which held a graduation event yesterday. The program also included financial literacy, first-time home buying support, and job placement support services. And still to come on CTV News tonight, Simon Bugg stops by with the Friday Sports Page Report. Stay tuned.
What's up, sports fans? And coming up on your Friday Sports Page, UMD head football coach Mike Loxley talks about the team's upcoming matchup against Towson University, and a new era begins for the UMD softball team. Stay tuned.
As Russia continues its war in Ukraine, tens of thousands of U.S. troops are on the ground in Eastern Europe, supporting our allies. And the USO is right there beside them.
I've never really been away from my family like this, so it takes its toll mentally.
Being in an environment where you just don't know what tomorrow will look like. The USO provided a lot of comfort.
USO being here, it's letting the soldiers know that they're not forgotten.
We are there when they need us most because of you. Your support is everything.
Well, we are talking football on the Friday Sports page, and here's Simon Buggs.
Thank you, Patty. We'll begin your Friday Sports page with some college football news. The start of the UMD football season is just one day away, as the Terps will play their first game tomorrow against Towson University. This team has big aspirations this year as they want to compete for the Big Ten championship. And head coach Mike Loxley expressed how important it is for this Terps squad to start the season off strong with a win.
We're excited about this opportunity to be back at home and open up in the shell against, again, a really good FCS team in Towson. As I've always said, you only get one chance to make a great first impression each and every year. And for us, it's going to be really important that we get off to a fast start to establish an identity as to the type of team we want to be this year. And so be really important for us that it's more what we do than what Towson will do. And so as we prepare for this game, most of our attention has been on our execution of the things we did well throughout camp. And then we'll have to do a really good job in the course of the game as coaches when we understand and figure out what it is they want to do to stop us to make the necessary adjustments, which I feel really comfortable that we will.
But coming away with the win won't be an easy task, as this Tiger squad is loaded with talent, especially on the offensive side of the ball.
When you look at Towson as a team on offense, they're a team that's going to play with great tempo. Their offensive coordinator came from Stetson and has played with great tempo. They've got some really talented skill players, two receivers there that both 19 and 13 that are an experienced group. Their O-line, they have a bunch of returning starters on the O-line, and they're not small. When you look at traditional FCS teams, very rarely do you look across the board and see 5 300-pounders, and they've got just that. They've got a terrific returner skill guy in number 0, Diego, and the job he did a year ago.
The Terps and Tigers will take the field at 3:30 in College Park. Wrapping up your Friday Sports page, the Wise High School football squad will be in action tonight as they face off against Maury High School at 7 o'clock. Pumas fans will be watching as they hope to see Coach DeLon Parrish and company start their season off with a win. And switching gears to some softball news, the UMD softball squad has hired a new coach and former Oakland University head coach Lauren Karn. This comes after the previous head coach and Mark Montgomery resigned the position last month. And lastly, the Washington Nationals fell to the Miami Marlins yesterday, 6-1. The two teams will take the diamond again tonight at 7:05. The Baltimore Orioles will also be in action tonight, taking on the Arizona Diamondbacks at 9:40. I'm Simon Buggs, CTV Sports.
Thanks, Simon. And checking now on your weather forecast. Tonight, clear skies with lows near 58 degrees. Saturday, sunny and pleasant, highs in the low 80s. Sunday, it'll be sunny and hot, highs near 92. And Monday, sunny and even hotter with highs reaching 96. Now for your community calendar, the Prince George's School Board will host a public hearing on its capital improvement program. That's this coming Tuesday, September 5th. The hearing begins at 6 p.m. and you can join via Zoom by calling into 301-751-8592. The passcode is 840-273. And that is CTV News for now. I'm Patricia Vallone. Have a great holiday weekend. We'll see you back here on Tuesday.
We grew up together. We believed in something bigger than ourselves. The military took me to one side of the world and her to the other. And even though she was always the strong one, when we caught up years later, I found out she had fallen on some hard times. It was her call to make, but doing it together made all the difference.
For veterans who are homeless or on the brink of homelessness, call 877-424-3838.
Still looking for hurricane help? If you've registered with FEMA and still need aid, contact FEMA today because disaster assistance is still available. It's easy to reach FEMA. Just call 1-800-621-3362 or visit disasterassistance.gov.